Hello guys, my name is Miguel, this is Rush the Wash, and on today's video I want to show you how I painted some horses with contrast paints. Horses are probably one of the things that I like painting the least. They are big, they're chunky, and they don't have many interesting features that I like to paint.
What was that? You're a real piece of sh**.
However, because Warhammer the Old World is coming and there is going to be a need for horses in some of the armies, devising a system that is going to make it easier for all of us is probably one of the best options in painting in Rush the Wash. So without further ado, let's start with the tutorial. I am currently stuck at a hotel in KL, Kuala Lumpur, while I wait for quarantine to be over for me. I'm gonna be editing some videos, so bear with me if you see some strange stuff like my outfits or intros that don't really go along with the video, but you know, I'm a little bit crazy, so yes, deal with it. I'm gonna paint these horses following the Rush the Wash methodology, which is just priming them in different colors that allow to put washes on top of them. And one of the things in here is using Zenithal primer, which I have been hearing about quite a lot. Zenithal priming, I've been told several times that I should try it, and it actually has very good results, but I think it's better if you use a better primer instead of the spray cans that I used, or maybe an airbrush. Yeah, I know, heresy. Me recommending using an airbrush, can you believe it? There were several avenues that I experimented with in this type of priming. I usually prime my miniatures just in white, but I wanted to try this new approach. I heard quite a lot of stuff about it and I decided to give it a try. As you can see, I'm trying either to achieve certain tonalities by doing black primer or gray primer and then dry brush on white on top of that, or even doing a Zenithal spray on top. By looking at the chart of the different colors that I saw for horses, I decided that it was a no-brainer just to try with several of the contrast browns. There is really not much to explain here, just get a nice big brush that is going to allow you to put quite a lot of contrast simultaneously. That is going to prevent you from leaving big marks with, you know, brush strokes that are going to detriment from the look of the miniatures after doing this. If you do it correctly, you will achieve a very strong foundation to do things later on with your brown colors. You can repeat the same process with other of the colors here. I call these the tan horses, but let me tell you something, when you use wildwood, there is nothing tan about that. That is a brown, dark brown horse as well. I'm gonna be honest here, there were some things that I was experimenting with, and although the end result was quite nice in my opinion, there are still some things that I would like to polish a little bit. After the first coat of the colors, it was time to decide what to do next. Horses have big surfaces, and if you use only one contrast color on something like this, sometimes it gets a nice result, but sometimes you actually need to do some extra work so you get rid of those streaks and pooling that you can get with contrast. On top of the brown and tan colors, we also have grays and whites. If you want to go into this area of colors, make sure that you don't overdo it, because then it's going to be very difficult to create the volume that you want. For instance, I was painting on top of gray primer with black Templar, and that made the horse very, very dark. I don't recommend doing this, and instead you will see how I try to fix it later on. It created more work than I actually wanted to do, but nevertheless, it's a lesson that I learned very, very fast. On the other hand, I wanted to do something very similar to what you can see in some dark elf armies, and it was painting a horse that was kind of bluish. I experimented with ultramarine blue, and the end result was, well, remarkable. I liked it. Maybe it's not your cup of tea, but it's a fantasy game, isn't it? After we work with the different colors, it's time to clean up a little bit. I like cleaning up with pure white, because that way I'm gonna create a crisp type of colors that I want to achieve. I clean the hair, the mane, the tail, the different areas of the tack, and also the hooves, so I can work from there and just start building up colors with different options. For this, I will use different types of browns that contrast with the one that has the most area painted in the horse, either by making it darker or by achieving different results with all these colors. As you can see, I'm using all the different browns and tans that we have in the contrast range, as well as some of the previous washes that we used to have, like Agres Earthshade, Seraphine Sepia, etc. It's just building up on top of that. One of the things that I like is creating blonde manes and blonde, would you say blonde for a horse?
Oh my god.
Kind of blondish manes by muting it down with Seraphine Sepia and then adding that yellowish color with Sigismund Clear Air. One important thing that you need to know is that when you use different browns, the dark ones in particular, like Wildwood and Sigurd Brown, it is worth making it a little bit more liquid so you can glaze it on top of the horse or any other miniature that you're painting with them. That way you're not darkening it too much and you might be able to do these smooth transitions that I'm trying to achieve here, sometimes with more or less success. Either way, you can always use Agres Earthshade, which is more consistent on that approach if you want to do smoother transitions, but contrast, because of the pigment being much more prevalent in its formula, you have to make sure that you either use a little bit of water or a medium. I really don't like painting horses because it takes a lot of time from, I don't know, painting the warriors that go on top of them. I really like painting other miniatures that have more details, and these flat surfaces, I just want to get rid of them as soon as possible. I have painted plenty of horses for all my armies. I have an Empire army, High Elf army, a Wood Elf army, etc, etc. And I know that is a chore that some of us do not really enjoy. Therefore, this method I think is gonna make you save quite a lot of time. This works with any kind of army, either fantasy or historical, and I think that is worth noting the things that I have learned by doing this. First of all, find some natural examples. At the beginning of the video, I show you this small chart with different types of colors that horses might have in nature. It is very good. I use it as a basis for all the color schemes that I use here, with the exception of a couple of them, and it actually helped me a lot to decide what colors to paint each one of the horses. The second lesson that I learned here is try not to overdo it. Just keep your palette simple and use the same colors over and over again. That way you don't need to reach for new colors all the time, and you will see a consistent unit even if you are using different horses and different colors in the same unit. Nevertheless, I think it is worth having as many browns as possible for this particular type of animals to be painted, because it's gonna make it much more interesting when you paint a whole unit of them. Last but not least, make it fun but keep it simple. One of the things that actually makes it more entertaining for me to paint horses is to try to find different ways to give it some details, like stars on the forehead, some socks, and maybe painting the lips in the horses. This is easily achievable by just painting those in white and then maybe giving a glaze with a flesh color, as I will show you later. When it comes to painting black horses, it's better to take it with a more subtle approach. I'm gonna use non-oil for the one that is dark gray, which is going to darken it in a way that looks more natural. The other one, on the other hand, I'm gonna have to do something about that so it doesn't look that black. If you've been in the channel before, you know that sometimes I backtrack and I go back and forth with certain things. This is not any exception to the rule. That's the way it is with my painting system. So what I'm doing now, I'm highlighting the whole horse with pure white, trying to follow the lines of the muscles and the different parts of the anatomy. This is a very time-consuming process, but I just didn't want to have a horse that looked too flat. Now I'm gonna just give it a glaze with Griff Charger Grey, and now the horse will probably look much better than that flat black surface that was just sucking light into it without any reflection whatsoever. Guys, I'm finding out that most of the people watching videos haven't subscribed yet to the channel. It is a pity. I put videos every now and then, and I think you will love to be part of the community. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, activate the notifications, and leave a comment below to tell me how well are you painting your armies now. Now this is the part that I enjoy the most when painting things, which is giving those extra fine details that make the miniature come alive. In the case of the horses, well, there is not much to it besides painting a few socks, a star on the forehead here and there, touching up the eyes and giving it an interesting look. There is another thing that I really like to do, and is in some horses just to paint the lips. In order to do that, you just need to highlight those in white and give it a glaze with one of the flesh washes that we have in our repertoire, like for instance Raglan Flesh Shade or Guineaman Flesh. In case of horses with a clear coat, you can add the Raglan Flesh Shade or the Guineaman Flesh also to the ears and underneath the eye sockets. When painting the tack on the horses, I decide to do it with contrasting colors. This is, if the horse is black, I'm gonna paint the tack in brown. And obviously, if the horse is brown, I'm gonna paint the tack in gray. This way you can achieve a little bit more of contrast, because if you paint the tack in brown on a horse that is already brown, it becomes very difficult to read the different parts of the miniature. Finish the rest off by painting the details of the miniature with whatever color scheme your army has, and voila, you will have your horses ready for the next battle in no time at all. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm gonna be stuck here for a while because we are on quarantine, so you will see a couple of videos from the channel being edited here. Big thanks to my friends Marika and Stein, who brought me the necessary items that I needed to edit this video. I want you to check Marika's Instagram account. If you are into healthy lifestyle, exercising and fitness, definitely go check her account. And you know what? Say that you come from Russellbush. I really do not like painting cavalry, but I really love seeing units of cavalry deployed. It's a conundrum that I have to face every time that I paint a new army for Warhammer Fantasy or other games that I play. Therefore, well, I needed to find a method that will allow me to paint horses much faster and more efficiently. And I think after experimenting with different primers and different ways of doing this with contrast and washes, I found a sweet spot. I really hope that this tutorial helps you to achieve the results that you want, and somehow that we can see even more armies deployed, fully painted and ready for battle. My name is Miguel, thank you for watching, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!